we were just about to kind of get onto a couple of the disease areas that LifeArc has spent some time focusing on. One is motor neurone disease, and the other is respiratory diseases. Should we start with motor neurone disease? I think to kick off, it would be interesting for me as to why you did choose that area, and what is it specifically about that area where you think, why could LifeArc help so much in that area, if that makes any sense? So yeah, over to you.
Sure, thank you very much. So we are working through a system of translational challenges, and we chose, and that is a big program which can have multiple projects, which, as I said before, can cover anything from a diagnostic, digital device or drug type focus.
Yep.
We chose MND because we had quite close connections with the whole ecosystem of MND, which, as you rightly said, from this morning's announcements on the television, for example, is very closely connected community, a very active community, and very strongly involved with patients.
Yep.
So we already had that established in the UK. And when we looked at it, one of the things that we make as a criterion is, can we do any good ourselves? Can LifeArc, becoming part of that, actually do something? And when we connected with the charities, My Name's Doddy and the MND Association, etc., we realized that we could do something. In fact, we could bring our industrial knowledge of translation into their ecosystem, and by coordinating and using our knowledge around there, we actually realized that despite this being a most debilitating and serious disease, it actually was a failed commercial opportunity in many respects. It's
really?
It's quite a rare disease, and not one that was receiving considerable commercial attention. So that's an ideal opportunity. So we talk to patients and their charities, and of course the real hope for these patients is that we get a cure. But unfortunately, the diagnostic phase of this is clinical, is when the disease clinically manifests. And this is actually when patients are on quite a steep decline.
Okay. Is that because the diagnosis at the moment happens from sort of cognitive basis, i.e. visible symptoms that can be then visibly noted, or somewhat like speech, verbal, memory, retention, as opposed to a diagnostic blood test which could detect markers way earlier?
Exactly, and it's even it's really interesting, Steve, because those clinical markers also do not distinguish the underlying cause of motor neurone disease between different patients. So to actually do something to treat patients late stage when you've got clinical markers that are not indicative of mechanism is actually too late. So one of the real unmet needs was earlier diagnosis, and then earlier understanding through that diagnosis the mechanisms that are actually the underlying cause of the disease.